Dr. Emma Mitchell's fingers trembled as she adjusted the quantum resonance scanner. 3,000 years of human history surrounded her in the archive chamber of the Mnemoscene, each data crystal containing fragments of humanity's last days on Earth. The chamber hummed with the soft blue glow of preservation fields, maintaining temperatures just above absolute zero to protect their precious memories. "Play it again, Araya," Emma commanded the ship's AI, her voice barely above a whisper. The holographic display flickered to life, showing her great-grandmother's final transmission from Earth. The image was deteriorating, despite their best preservation efforts. "They're not destroying Earth," her ancestor's voice crackled through quantum static. "The Arcturus Collective is using displacement tech. Static. Need to understand. What they're doing isn't destruction. It's trans-dimensional." The message cut off there, as it always had. But this time, Emma had finally calibrated the quantum scanner correctly. As the message played, new data streams appeared in her peripheral display, quantum signatures embedded in the transmission itself, hidden for millennia in the static between words. "Araya, cross-reference these signatures with our astronomical database," Emma ordered, her heart racing. The AI's response was almost immediate. "Match found. Quantum displacement patterns similar to those recorded in the Helios sector last month." Emma's breath caught in her throat. She'd been tracking those anomalies for weeks, believing them to be natural phenomena. Display overlay. The holographic display expanded, showing two wavelength patterns side by side. The match was undeniable. The quantum signature from her great-grandmother's message was nearly identical to the recent astronomical disturbances. The archive chamber's door hissed open, and Commander Marcus Hayes strode in, his uniform bearing the silver stars of ship security. "Dr. Mitchell, you missed the morning brief." He stopped short, seeing her expression. "What did you find?" "Everything we know is wrong," Emma said, her voice shaking. "Earth wasn't destroyed. It was taken. And I think," she gestured to the display, "I think they're doing it again. Somewhere out there." Hayes moved closer, his cybernetic eye whirring as it focused on the data. "Explain." "The Arcturus Collective didn't want to destroy us. They wanted to harvest us. Earth wasn't their first target, and it wasn't their last. These signatures we've been detecting, they're testing their displacement technology again. They're preparing to take another world." The commander's augmented hand clenched, servos whining. "How certain are you?" "The quantum patterns are identical, but there's more." Emma pulled up another display. "I've been analyzing the degradation rate of these signatures. They don't fade like normal energy patterns. They echo. Each displacement creates a ripple in spacetime that we can trace. If I'm right, we might be able to follow these echoes back to their source." "Back to Earth," Hayes breathed. "Yes, but Commander," Emma hesitated. "If we can track these signatures, the collective probably can too. And if they realize we've survived, that we've advanced enough to detect their technology." Hayes nodded grimly. "They'll finish what they started." He activated his neural link. "Security command. Initiate protocol blackout. All non-essential systems dark. Now." Throughout the massive generation ship, lights dimmed as the Mnemoscene went into stealth mode. 3,000 years of hiding had taught them to move like ghosts among the stars. "How long can you track these signatures?" Hayes asked. Emma studied the degrading patterns. "A few days, maybe less. After that, the quantum echo will be too faint to follow. Then we have a decision to make." Hayes stared at the holographic Earth, frozen in its final moment. "Stay hidden and survive, or risk everything to find our way home." The ship's warning system suddenly pulsed red. Araya's voice filled the chamber. "Multiple quantum distortions detected. Bearing 03 Mark 12. Signatures match known Arcturian probe configurations." Emma and Hayes shared a look. The decision had just been made for them. "Sound general quarters," Hayes commanded. "But keep us dark. If they're hunting, let them think we're just another piece of space debris." He turned to Emma. You have 48 hours to find us a trail home. After that, we run." As alarm tones echoed softly through the ship's corridors, Emma turned back to her quantum scanner. Somewhere in these ancient echoes lay the path to Earth. She just hoped they could follow it before the Arcturus Collective found them first. The Mnemosyne's phantom drive hummed at the edge of human hearing as Commander Hayes led Emma through the restricted section of engineering. Unlike the archive chamber's preserved antiquity, this area pulsed with bleeding-edge technology that would have seemed like magic to their earthbound ancestors. "Project Oracle has been our best-kept secret for 15 generations," Hayes explained, pressing his palm against a quantum-locked door. Inside, a massive spherical chamber dominated the space, its walls lined with crystalline matrices that seemed to bend reality around them. Even most of the ship's crew thinks this is just another power regulation system. Emma watched as technicians in silver containment suits moved around the sphere, making minute adjustments to its field harmonics. "This is how we've stayed hidden for so long." Part of it. Hayes gestured to the sphere. "Oracle doesn't just hide us, it watches them. Every quantum displacement leaves scars in spacetime. We've been tracking those scars, building a map of Arcturian activity across 3 galaxies." A holographic display materialized, showing thousands of quantum displacement signatures. Emma's eyes widened as she recognized the pattern. "These match the signatures from my great-grandmother's message." "Exactly." Hayes manipulated the display, zooming in on a particular cluster of signatures. "But look at this. 2 days ago, Oracle detected something new, something impossible." The display shifted, focusing on a single point of light that pulsed with a familiar rhythm. Emma's breath caught. "That's Earth's quantum signature, the exact frequency from the day it vanished." "Not quite." Hayes enlarged the signal. "It's Earth's signature, but distorted, like looking at a reflection in troubled water. We think." Alarms suddenly blared through the chamber. The crystalline matrices flashed red, and the technicians scrambled to their stations. "Report," Hayes barked. A young technician's voice cracked over the comm. "Massive quantum surge detected, sir. Multiple Arcturian signatures, bearing 180 Mark III. They're using the displacement drive." Emma rushed to a console, her fingers flying over the controls. "AI, give me a visual." The AI complied, projecting a real-time view of space. At first, there was nothing but stars. Then reality itself seemed to fold, creating a ripple effect that distorted the visible spectrum. In its wake, a massive structure emerged, an Arcturian world engine. "They're not supposed to be here," Hayes muttered. "This sector was clear yesterday." "They're searching for something," Emma realized. She overlaid the quantum signatures from Oracle onto the visual. "Look, they're following the same trail we are. The Earth echo we detected. They detected it too." Hayes activated his neural link. "Bridge, initiate emergency protocols. Redirect all power to the Phantom Drive. We need to." "Wait," Emma grabbed his arm. "Look at their search pattern. They haven't seen us. They're focused entirely on that quantum signature. We could follow them straight to whatever they're looking for," Hayes finished. A muscle twitched in his jaw as he considered the risk. "If we're wrong, if they detect us, then humanity loses its last chance to find Earth," Emma said quietly. "But if we're right, if that really is Earth's signature we're detecting." The world engine's massive form moved through space with impossible grace, its quantum wake distorting everything around it. As they watched, smaller Arcturian vessels emerged from its hangar bays, beginning a systematic search pattern. Hayes made his decision. "AI, initiate protocol. Shadow dance. Match our Phantom Drive harmonics to their quantum wake. We're going to hide in plain sight." He turned to Emma. "Your great-grandmother's message suggested they were using Earth as a power source. Maybe that's why the signature is distorted. They're still trying to tap into whatever makes humanity unique. And now they've lost control of it," Emma whispered, watching the Arcturian ships with a mixture of fear and fascination. Earth is fighting back. The Mnemoscene systems pulsed as ARIA adjusted their phantom drive, sensing their quantum signature to match the background radiation of the world engine's wake. They would follow the Arcturians like a shadow, invisible in the quantum storms they created. As the massive generation ship slipped into its hunting mode, Emma couldn't help but smile. After 3,000 years of running and hiding, humanity was finally starting to chase. Lieutenant Jessica Barnes had spent most of her life breaking into Arcturian systems. The cyber intelligence officer's neural implants glowed a soft blue beneath her skin as she sifted through the quantum-encrypted transmissions pouring from the world engine. Her small command center, tucked deep within the Mnemoscene's secure sectors, hummed with processing power. "Got you, you arrogant bastards," she whispered, her augmented eyes catching a pattern in the data stream. ARIA, isolate frequency band theta 9. Push it through the quantum decoder. The ship's AI complied, and fragments of Arcturian communication materialized in the holographic display. Most were standard operational codes, but one phrase kept repeating. Protocol. Earthfall. Jessica's breath hitched. "Emma, you seeing this?" Dr. Mitchell's voice came through the comm, tense with excitement. "It matches the code name from my ancestors' records. Can you crack it?" "Already on it." Jessica's fingers danced through the air, manipulating the quantum encryption. "They're using a new cipher, but the base structure is familiar." She paused, frowning. "Too familiar, almost like." "Like what?" "Like they wanted someone to decode it." Jessica's implants pulsed faster as she worked. Either they're getting sloppy after 3,000 years, or the holographic display suddenly exploded with data, not just text, but images, star charts, and quantum signatures, hundreds of them, all bearing the same distorted pattern they detected from Earth. Emma rushed into the command center, haze closed behind. "Those signatures," she breathed. "They're all the same type as Earth's displacement." Jessica nodded grimly. "Look at the timestamps. The earliest ones date back almost 4,000 years. Earth wasn't their first target. It was just their first failure." Hayes leaned forward, his cybernetic eye whirring as it processed the data. "How many?" 23 worlds," Jessica answered, her voice tight. "All with indigenous intelligent life. All with unique quantum signatures that the Arcturians found." "Interesting." She pulled up another file. But Earth was different. Look at these energy readings from the displacement event. The display showed a massive power spike, far larger than the others. But instead of a clean transfer like the other worlds, Earth's signature showed resistance, a chaotic pattern that suggested something had gone terribly wrong. They couldn't control it, Emma realized. Something about Earth, about humans, fought back against the displacement. And now, she gestured to the recent transmissions. They're detecting similar signatures again, not just from their target coordinates, but from Earth itself. "There's more," Jessica said, her implants flickering as she dug deeper into the data. "These transmissions aren't just reports. They're warnings. The Arcturians are scared." "Scared?" Hayes scoffed. "Of what?" Jessica pulled up a final set of data. Temporal anomalies. Massive ones, spreading out from each displacement site. But the biggest comes from Earth's coordinates. The displacement didn't just move our planet. It created some kind of cascade effect. Reality itself is becoming unstable around these points. And now they can't control it. Emma finished. Earth's displacement damaged their technology somehow, created a flaw in their system, every time they try to use it. "The cracks get bigger," Jessica confirmed. "They're not hunting for more worlds to take. They're desperately trying to contain what they started." Hayes straightened, his augmented hand clenching. "How long until these anomalies reach populated systems?" "At the current rate of expansion," Jessica checked the calculations. "Maybe 5 years. Less if they keep trying to use the displacement drive." "Then we have leverage," Hayes said softly. "For the first time in 3,000 years, the Arcturians are vulnerable. And they know it. Emma studied the quantum signatures, her mind racing. We need to get this data back to the Mnemosyne's Council. If Earth really is fighting back, if humans have some natural ability to resist their technology, then we're not just survivors anymore. Jessica finished, her implants pulsing with possibility. We're the only ones who can stop what's coming. The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just survived the Arcturians' attempt to harvest them. They had unknowingly seeded the galaxy with a weapon that was now threatening to tear reality apart. And only the descendants of Earth knew how to fix it. Commander Kyle Davidson stood in the Mnemosyne's ghost hangar, watching his stealth fighters power up. Each ship looked like a piece of twisted space debris, a deliberate design choice that had kept them hidden for centuries. But beneath their deceptive exteriors lay humanity's deadliest secrets. All teams, sound off, he ordered through his neural link. The responses came back instantly, each pilot's status flowing directly into his augmented consciousness. Shadow lead, ready. Phantom lead, ready. Wraith lead, ready. Kyle turned as Emma and Hayes entered the hangar, their footsteps echoing off the quantum-dampened walls. I hear we're done hiding, he said, a slight smile playing at the corners of his mouth. Hayes nodded grimly. We need eyes on that world engine. Close eyes. How close? Kyle asked, though he already knew the answer. Inside, Emma replied, pulling up a holographic display of the massive Arcturian vessel. We need to confirm if they're actually using displacement technology. And if they are, she hesitated. If they are, we shut it down, Kyle finished. He turned to his teams, switching to broad-channel communication. Listen up. 3,000 years ago, our ancestors gave us one mission: survive. Today, that mission changes. Today, we hunt. The hangar erupted in controlled activity as pilots made final preparations. Each fighter was equipped with quantum-locked weapons, technology that could bypass Arcturian shields by existing partially out of phase with normal spacetime. Ghost Team will provide primary distraction, Kyle continued, highlighting tactical positions in the shared neural space. Phantom Team, you're our eyes. Get close, stay dark, gather everything you can about their displacement drive. Wraith Team, he paused, his augmented eyes glowing faintly. You're with me. We're going inside. Their sensors, Hayes started. Won't see us, Kyle interrupted. We've been preparing for this moment since before I was born. Show them. Carter. Lieutenant Sarah Carter, his second in command, stepped forward and activated a small device. Her form shimmed and suddenly appeared to be a piece of the hangar wall. Quantum mimetic camouflage, she explained, her voice seemingly coming from empty air. We don't just look like debris. We read like it too. Down to the atomic level. Emma's eyes widened. That's impossible. The energy requirements alone would be impossible, Kyle agreed, if we were using conventional power sources. He placed his hand on the nearest fighter's hull. But we've had 3 millennia to perfect zero-point energy extraction. These ships don't just hide from Arcturian sensors. They're invisible to reality itself. The mission briefing flowed through their shared neural network. Approach vectors, contingency plans, emergency protocols. Every pilot had trained for this their entire lives, running countless simulations based on centuries of observed Arcturian behavior. Remember, Kyle added, his voice turning hard, we're not just fighting for ourselves anymore. Those temporal anomalies Jessica discovered, they're spreading. If we don't stop the Arcturians from using their displacement drive again. We get it, sir, Carter said, reappearing beside him. Save the universe, no pressure. An alert pulsed through their neural links. The world engine was powering up its displacement drive again. They were out of time. Mount up, Kyle ordered. Emma, you're with me in the command ship. Hayes. I know, the commander nodded. Keep the Mnemosyne dark and ready. Just bring them back, Kyle. All of them. Kyle clasped his old friend's arm. They didn't beat us 3,000 years ago. They're not beating us today. The fighters lifted off silently, their quantum drives barely disturbing the air around them. As they approached the hangar's energy barrier, Kyle sent one final message through the neural network. Remember your training. Remember Earth. But most importantly, remember why we hide. The barrier parted, and 12 ghost ships slipped into the void, invisible against the starfield. As they accelerated toward the massive world engine, Kyle allowed himself a grim smile. The Arcturians had spent 3 millennia believing they had destroyed humanity's ability to fight back. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Dr. Rachel Sullivan stood before the gathered council of the Mnemoscene, her biomimetic skin shifting subtly to match the lighting, a reminder of just how far humanity's adaptation had come. The chamber was silent as she manipulated the holographic display, showing the modified colony ship that prepared for Operation Trojan. The Zenith's damage patterns have been carefully engineered, she explained, highlighting specific areas of the vessel. Every burn mark, every radiation signature tells the story of a civilization we created. The Antarians, a species supposedly wiped out centuries ago in a stellar catastrophe. And you're certain the Arcturians will believe this deception? Counselor Matthews asked, his ancient frame supported by a web of life support tech. Rachel's lips curved into a confident smile. They already do. We've spent 50 years seeding their databases with traces of the Antarian civilization. Archaeological records, fragments of technology, even radiation signatures that match our story. The groundwork is laid. She gestured, and the display shifted to show her team. Every member of the contact group has been genetically modified to match our created species phenotype. Our quantum signatures have been altered to mask any trace of human DNA. Emma stepped forward from her position near the wall. What about the temporal anomalies? Won't they detect? That's the beauty of it, Rachel interrupted, her eyes gleaming. The Antarians' fictional home system was supposedly destroyed by unexplained temporal distortions. The very thing the Arcturians fear most, we've woven into our cover story. They'll be so focused on preventing another temporal cascade, they won't look too closely at the survivors. A holographic display updated, showing the massive world engine they'd been tracking. Kyle's voice came through the quantum comm, slightly distorted by stealth fields. Target is holding position near the Carina Nebula. They're still running displacement drive tests. My team has confirmed the temporal distortions are getting worse with each activation. Rachel nodded, unsurprised. Perfect timing. The Zenith is ready. Once we activate the distress beacon. Alarms suddenly blared through the chamber. Aria's voice cut through the chaos. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Arcturian scout ships on an intercept course with the Zenith's position. They're early, Rachel snapped, her biomimetic skin rippling with tension. Strike teams. Accelerate timeline. Initiate protocol scatter. The council chamber erupted into controlled chaos as the operation launched ahead of schedule. Through the quantum comm, they could hear Kyle's team adjusting their positions, maintaining their invisible vigil around the world engine. Rachel's team was already moving, their modified bodies shifting to match their created species appearance. The Zenith's engines fired up, its carefully crafted damage patterns beginning to leak radiation exactly as planned. Wait, Emma called out, studying a new data stream. These temporal readings, they're not just getting worse. They're changing pattern. The distortions are starting to synchronize. Rachel froze, her modified eyes scanning the data. That's impossible. Unless what? Unless we're not the only ones out there, Rachel whispered. Computer, analyze temporal distortion patterns across all known displacement sites. Look for resonance patterns. The result appeared instantly. A complex web of quantum signatures, all pulsing in growing harmony. The timeline they'd thought they had was wrong. The temporal cascade wasn't just spreading, it was organizing. It's Earth, Emma breathed, understanding dawning in her eyes. When they displaced our world, they didn't just move it. They connected it to every other world they've taken. And now they're all fighting back, Rachel finished. She turned to the council, her artificial skin glowing with urgency. We need to modify the plan. The Arcturians aren't just running from the temporal distortions, they're running from what those distortions are becoming. A network of displaced worlds, all connected, all pushing back against their imprisonment. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. They weren't just launching a deception operation anymore. They were watching the beginning of a rebellion that spanned dimensions, a rebellion their lost homeworld had unknowingly started 3,000 years ago. And the Arcturians' world engine was about to become ground zero for the next phase. Kyle's stealth fighter glided through the quantum wake of the world engine, its sensors drinking in data. What they'd found inside the massive Arcturian vessel defied everything they'd believed about their ancient enemy. The displacement drive wasn't just a weapon, it was failing spectacularly. "Command, are you seeing this?" He subvocalized through his neural link. The quantum encrypted feed showed massive energy fluctuations throughout the engine's core. "Confirmed," Emma's voice whispered in his mind. "Those temporal distortions air. Multiple contacts." Lieutenant Carter's warning cut through the comm, emerging from inside the distortion field. Kyle's enhanced vision caught movement in the supposedly empty space ahead. At first, he thought it was another temporal anomaly. Then his sensors picked up something impossible: human quantum signatures. A massive ship materialized from what looked like a fold in spacetime itself. Unlike the utilitarian design of the Mnemoscene, this vessel was organic in appearance, its hull rippling like living tissue. More ships appeared, each displaying radically different technologies. One seemed to phase between dimensions, another appeared to bend gravity itself around its hull. "This is Admiral James Chen of the New Terra Fleet," a voice crackled through their quantum comm on an ancient Earth frequency. "To the stealth vessels running silent in Sector 7, we see you, cousins. Perhaps it's time we talked." Kyle's mind raced. 3,000 years of believing they were the last survivors, only to find this. "Command." After a moment's hesitation, Haves's voice came through. "Authenticate." "Earth Protocol 77 Alpha." Chen responded instantly. "The stars remember what we lost." "Response," Hayes replied, his voice thick with emotion. "But humanity remembers how to find it." The encrypted channel erupted with voices, other human colonies, dozens of them, all emerging from their own hidden sanctuaries. Each had developed along radically different technological paths. Some had mastered biological enhancement, others had transcended traditional physics, and some had evolved their consciousness into forms the Arcturians couldn't detect. "The temporal network," Emma broke in, her voice excited. "We thought it was just connecting displaced worlds. But it's more than that. It's connecting displaced humanity." Kyle watched as more ships appeared, their technologies beyond anything he'd imagined. "How many of us survived?" 47 colonies confirmed, Chen responded, each with our own methods of staying hidden. The Arcturians thought they scattered us to the cosmic winds. Instead, they gave us the entire galaxy to evolve in. Through his neural link, Kyle received tactical data from the other colonies. The New Terra Fleet had mastered organic technology, growing their ships from engineered stellar matter. The Helios Collective had developed quantum phase technology that let them exist partially out of sync with normal spacetime. The Atlantis Brigade had adapted to live in deep space itself, their ships more like environmental suits for their transformed bodies. The temporal distortions, Rachel's voice joined the conversation. They're not just a side effect of the displacement drive. They're a network created by human quantum signatures resonating across spacetime. We've been unconsciously building it for 3,000 years. And now it's complete, Chen confirmed. Every human colony, every displaced world, all connected through the very technology they used to try to destroy us. But we don't have much time. The network is becoming unstable. If we're going to use it to find Earth, we need to move now. Kyle finished, understanding. He looked at the assembled fleet of humanity's scattered children, each ship a testament to human ingenuity and adaptation. But the Arcturians are about to learn why dividing humanity was their greatest mistake, Chen said, and Kyle could hear the smile in his voice. We've all been preparing for this moment, developing weapons and technologies they couldn't imagine. Apart, we were dangerous. Together. Together, Kyle echoed, watching as the combined fleet moved into attack formation around the world engine. We're their worst nightmare. The time for hiding was over. Humanity's children had finally come home. And they'd brought 3,000 years of innovation with them. Operation Thunderstrike began with silence. One moment, the Arcturian world engine floated in seemingly empty space. The next, reality itself cracked open around it as humanity's combined fleet dropped their stealth fields. All colonies, execute attack pattern Omega. Admiral Chen's voice resonated through the quantum network. Show them what humanity has become. The new Terra fleet struck first, their organic ships extruding crystalline structures that pulsed with bioengineered weapons. Living lightning arced between the crystals, creating a web of energy that disrupted the world engine's outer shields. The Arcturian response was immediate and useless. Their energy weapons passed harmlessly through the organic hulls, which simply absorbed and redistributed the attacks. Phase 2, Kyle commanded, leading his ghost fighters through the gaps in the Arcturian defenses. Helios Collective, you're up. The phase-shifted ships of the Helios Collective rippled into partial existence, their quantum state weapons bypassing the remaining Arcturian shields as if they weren't there. Each shot existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, making them impossible to block with conventional defenses. Inside the Mnemosyne's command center, Emma worked frantically with Jessica, their neural links blazing as they coordinated the attack through the temporal network. The displacement drive is spinning up, Emma warned. They're trying to jump. Not this time, Rachel's voice cut in. The Zenith, still maintaining its Antarian disguise, had moved into position, initiating quantum lock. The bioengineered spores Rachel's team had secretly attached to the world engine's hull during their earlier infiltration activated, spreading across its surface like a living web. Each spore contained a quantum resonance crystal tuned to Earth's specific frequency, technology developed by studying the very displacement that had taken their homeworld. Arcturian transmission detected, Jessica announced, her cybernetic systems decoding it in real time. They're asking for terms. No terms, Chen responded coldly. Atlantis Brigade breached their primary hull. Show them what deep space evolution looks like. The transformed humans of the Atlantis Brigade emerged from their environmental ships, their bodies adapted to survive in vacuum. They moved like living mercury across the world engine's surface, their nano-engineered flesh interfacing directly with its systems. Where they touched, Arcturian technology simply stopped working, consumed by humanity's most extreme adaptation. Multiple temporal distortions forming. Emma's warning echoed through the network. The displacement drive is overloading. But the pattern, it's not random anymore. Kyle's sensors confirmed it. The temporal distortions were synchronizing, creating a cascading resonance that linked every displaced world in the galaxy. And at the center of that growing storm of space-time distortions, a familiar quantum signature pulsed. Earth. They're losing control of every world they've taken, Rachel realized. The temporal network isn't just connecting them, it's letting them fight back. Through the quantum network, they could see it happening. Every displaced civilization, connected by the very technology meant to imprison them, was pushing back against their dimensional barriers. The Arcturians hadn't just failed to contain humanity. They'd created a revolution that spanned dimensions. Final phase, Chen ordered. All ships, execute protocol. Homecoming. The combined human fleet moved in perfect synchronization, their diverse technologies harmonizing through the temporal network. The Mnemosyne's phantom drive, the new Terra fleet's organic tech, the Helios Collective's phase weapons, the Atlantis Brigade's adaptive biology. All of it focused on a single point in space-time. 3,000 years ago, they thought they could break us by scattering us across the galaxy, Kyle transmitted to all ships. Instead, they gave us room to grow, to evolve, to become something they couldn't possibly predict or control. And now we show them what humanity has become. Chen finished. All ships, fire. The combined power of humanity's scattered children lashed out at the world engine's displacement drive. But they weren't trying to destroy it. They were taking control of it, using 3 millennia of innovation to turn the Arcturians' own technology against them. The journey home was about to begin. The temporal storm raged around the combined human fleet, reality itself bending as 3,000 years of displacement technology unwound itself. Emma's quantum calculations flowed through the neural network, guiding the assembled ships through the chaos they'd created. Earth's signature is stabilizing, she announced, her voice tight with concentration. The resonance pattern is nearly complete. Through the massive viewports of the Mnemoscene, they could see the other displaced worlds beginning to phase back into normal spacetime. Each emergence sent shockwaves through the quantum field, adding to the growing cascade of temporal energy. All colonies, maintain formation, Admiral Chen ordered. Synchronize your drives with the temporal network. Emma, start the sequence. Kyle's ghost fighters moved in perfect formation around the captured world engine, their phantom drives pulsing in harmony with the new Terra fleet's organic crystals. The Helios Collective's phase-shifted vessels anchored specific points in spacetime, creating a stable framework for what was to come. 3,000 years, Rachel whispered through the comm. Everything we developed, every adaptation we made, every technology we created, it was all leading to this moment. The Arcturian world engine, now under their control, hummed with power as the Atlantis Brigade's transformed humans rewrote its fundamental protocols. They weren't just using the displacement technology anymore. They were perfecting it, combining it with 3 millennia of human innovation. Temporal convergence in 30 seconds, Jessica reported, her cybernetic systems monitoring the growing distortion. The network is ready. Through their shared neural link, every human felt it. A resonance that went beyond technology, beyond physics, beyond the very fabric of spacetime. The quantum signature of Earth, their lost homeworld, pulsed like a beacon through the dimensional barriers. Now, Emma commanded. Every ship fired as one, their combined technologies creating something entirely new. The Mnemosyne's phantom drive merged with the organic crystals of the new Terra fleet, creating quantum tunnels that the Helios Collective's phase tech stabilized. The Atlantis Brigade's evolved humans guided the energy through the world engine's modified systems, transforming raw power into precise dimensional manipulation. Space itself split open, revealing layer upon layer of shifted reality. And there, suspended in the quantum foam between dimensions, they saw it, Earth, pristine and blue, exactly as it had been 3,000 years ago. Matrix established, Kyle reported, his ghost fighters maintaining their position around the dimensional tier, ready for final phase. Admiral Chen's voice carried the weight of generations. Bring her home. The combined fleet moved in perfect synchronization, their technologies harmonizing through the temporal network. They weren't just pulling Earth back. They were rewriting the laws of physics themselves, using everything they'd learned in their long exile to ensure this restoration would be permanent. Multiple Arcturian signatures detected, Jessica warned. They're launching a counterattack. But humanity was ready. The Arcturians' weapons, unchanged for millennia, met an impossible array of evolved human responses. Organic shields absorbed their energy. Phase-shifted hulls ignored their attacks, and adapted human forms simply rewrote their technology mid-strike. They still don't understand, Rachel said, watching through the Zenith sensors as the Arcturian fleet fell into disarray. They thought scattering us would make us easier to control. Instead, they gave us the entire galaxy as our laboratory, Emma finished. And now we're showing them the results. Earth's quantum signature pulsed one final time, and reality shifted. The temporal network, built from 3,000 years of displaced worlds resonating together, collapsed into a single point of infinite potential. For a moment, every human ship, every adapted form, every evolved technology became one with the dimensional flux. When the light faded, Earth hung in normal space, whole and untouched. But humanity had become something more. Not just survivors, not just warriors, but guardians of a new understanding of reality itself. "Send word to all colonies," Admiral Chen commanded, looking out at their restored homeworld. "Operation Thunderstrike is complete. Earth is home. And this time, we're here to ensure it stays that way." The dawn of a new era rose over Earth's horizon, illuminating the humanity that had turned exile into transcendence, separation into strength, and loss into the greatest victory in human history. The last survivors had done more than strike back. They had rewritten the very rules of existence, and the galaxy would never be the same.